A jobs report no one really wanted, but everyone is celebrating. Let's break down why it's not only loan officers rejoicing for lower interest rates, but economists who feel validated, politicians who are drooling, and a real estate market that's getting ready to pivot yet again. By the end of today's blog, I want you to be able to confidently articulate who exactly the big opportunity is being presented to right now. Let's start with the data from this morning's jobs report. Only 22,000 jobs were added in August, which signals a sharp slowdown in hiring. We're not talking about a job market that's cooling, we're talking cold. That suggests broader economic vulnerability. Unemployment rose to its highest level in 4 years. And per usual, we saw revisions to previous reports' numbers. June's already weak numbers were revised even worse, showing a net loss in jobs now. That is the first contraction a jobs report has given us since December of 2020. So Americans are having a harder time finding stable employment, bottom line. That is the validation economists have been looking for while feeling crazy that the economy wasn't really as strong as it was being presented to be. So now the question shifts away from whether or not America is truly being made great again and more towards how resilient is our economy? How much distress will it be able to tolerate between a weak labor market and inflation that is persevering? Kind of like that guy you gave your number to by accident in 2017, who to this day still engages with your Instagram stories, which are posts of your kids. That's perseverance, right? That's inflation right now. That's the question the Fed will face, and Trump will surely politicize. Instead of rehashing last week's drama-packed episode, I'll encourage you to go back and rewatch, because Fed independence is something we should all have an educated opinion on, no matter how badly we want lower interest rates. Now let's talk psychology versus policy. A bond rally doesn't mean Main Street is cheering. It was a great day to lock a loan. I will tell you that. I am, after all, a loan officer, and I do love seeing mortgage bonds in the green. It just would have been better if we had lower interest rates while people still had jobs, so they could qualify for a loan, you know? I'm being dramatic, but I do think it's something we pay attention to. If jobs vanish, it doesn't really matter how low interest rates are, right? No job, no mortgage, no house. Dave and I talked about this on Property Pursuits this week. Buyers and sellers tend to move on headlines, not math. By the time rates make headlines, the best opportunities have already been snatched up by savvy investors or proactive agents looking out for their clients. And this is how the wealth gap widens. You've heard this before. Recessions make millionaires. Most Americans don't look for a weak market to pour their money into, even though we know that the ones who bought property when values were the lowest were the ones who had the biggest gains. We know that, but we don't use it to inform our strategy. And that's the irony of the psychology of money. I don't want it to be the irony of your story, though. So here's what buyers and sellers need to do right now. Buyers, this is your sneak peek of a market to come. Rates have already dipped, like in a very real way, without any official rate cut from the Fed. You can lock in a lower interest rate while negotiating a deal with a seller before the general public catches on and takes action. This boosts your buying power. Like, again, in a very real way, moving your payment by hundreds, especially for FHA buyers, and you're not expecting this, but it'll probably make sense, especially for luxury buyers using jumbo loans. You should also update your pre-approval with your lender because this move in interest rates is significant enough to impact your buying power. And realtors, I would literally be describing this to my clients as a backstage pass. What's happening right now is your backstage pass. Once the show is on the main stage, they're going to be lost in a very crowded audience. On to sellers. Buyers have been waking up, and they've been waking up re-energized. I would refresh your listing or finally go live with it. Use this window to increase your reach however you need to. If you have a listing that has been sitting for a while, gone stagnant, start using marketing that encourages buyers to take advantage of this new rate relief. We're experiencing it now, and we don't know how long it lasts. Push that. If you've been waiting on interest rates to fall before you move, it's time to put your money where your mouth is and call your realtor. Just don't mistake movement for momentum. I've gotten smacked upside the head too many times over the past 24 months by this market. We've popped champagne only to have it go flat, thinking a trend in the direction that interest rates were going was going to continue, and then seeing them jump higher than they were when we started the downward trend. Both the markets and the Fed are data dependent, which creates fragile windows of opportunity rather than clear trend lines.